Along the west coast on high alert this morning after a powerful earthquake struck Russia, triggering tsunami warnings across the Pacific basin.
We're talking about that water coming up onto dry land above that mean high tide line and moving into dry places where it's normally not wet.
A look at which areas are now reporting being hit by tsunami-like waves and how the earthquake along Russia's coast is measuring up to previous ones.
A change in tune for the Department of Justice this morning as it backtracks on its previous stance towards the Epstein files. Why Attorney General Pam Bondi and other officials are now pushing for more information on the controversial case to be unsealed.
Backlash continues this morning over the handling of the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. Well, UK's Prime Minister is now threatening to do if a ceasefire isn't reached, plus what the UN is now saying about the aid that's entering the Strip.
You're watching Fox 26, and now, great day.
Well, it is a relatively calm morning right now, but waves hit nations across the Pacific after tsunami alerts were issued due to a massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake that struck off the coast of Russia yesterday afternoon, the sixth strongest ever recorded. On the right is Waikiki Beach in Hawaii. Now, Hawaii's threat has been downgraded from a warning to an advisory, and evacuation orders have now been lifted. Still, 6 foot waves were recorded in Maui. On the left is a live look at San Francisco. The peak surge for much of the coast was expected around 4 this morning. Now we'll have more on how this is impacting the California coast this morning in just a moment.
And good morning, I'm Carl Cook.
I'm Liz Gonzalez. Kim Stevens is off today.
And I'm Justin Willis. Thank you for joining us. And we're tracking that. We've got, the worst, fortunately, is over as far as those tsunami waves. But things still normal for us temperature-wise. So let's get to your day planner here and show you what's going on so that we can get on with what's happening out there today. So the first thing we have for you is your current conditions. 67 outside right now. Northwest winds 6 miles an hour. Dew points at 48. The rest of the day, though, it's going to be nice and sunny out there. 78 at 10 a.m. at noon. 86, 5 o'clock. We're at 96 degrees for you out there. All right, coming up next, your next weather maker. Well, the winds are backing off a little bit, but our temperatures, not so much. I'll explain in your next weather maker coming up.
Tsunami waves are hitting the U.S. shore following a massive earthquake that struck off the coast of Russia. The National Weather Service now reporting that the tide gauge in Port St. Louis, just a 2-hour drive from Fresno, showed a rapid and damaging surge that caused sea levels to rise from low to high tide within minutes around 4 this morning. Officials are advising people to steer clear of the area as the high tide could return multiple times over the next 24 hours. It's a push and pull there. The NWS Los Angeles confirmed at 1:20 this morning that tsunami-linked waves also hit Arena Cove, which is an area nearly 130 miles northwest of San Francisco. Let's take you live to Seattle, Washington now. The National Weather Service there confirms tsunami-like waves have hit both La Push and Westport Beach. A professor at the University of Washington who is monitoring the potential impacts says the open Pacific coast should be watched closely.
So out there between, Nia Bay and Grays Harbor and down all the way down to the Columbia River mouth, that's where the impact is likely to be the greatest if there is an impact. And we don't know yet.
While the Weather Service didn't say how high the waves were, forecasters have said the waves are expected to be under 1 foot for much of the West Coast. As we mentioned moments ago, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has downgraded its threat warnings for Hawaii to an advisory. This update comes just hours after officials reported several large tsunami waves also hit the island, some reaching over 5 feet, but causing no significant damage. The center is warning that strong currents along the coast are likely to occur and could prove hazardous. Officials say any people who evacuated the area could safely return home based on county assessments and directives. Parts of Japan also downgraded tsunami warnings to advisories. The Japan Meteorological Agency reported a tsunami reaching as high as 1.3 feet. That was detected in 16 locations along Japan's coast. Officials are urging people, however, to remain cautious. Japan has suspended ferries to Tokyo as well as other cities, and it's suspended or delayed some local train operations. Sendai Airport's runway is closed for now, and work has been suspended at power plants along the coast. Japan's meteorological agency also reporting waves of more than 4 feet at Kuji Port, which is located about 6 hours from Tokyo. By the way, the earthquake that set off the tsunami warnings is now among the strongest earthquakes ever on record. Take a look at this video as doctors were conducting surgery as that magnitude 8.8 quake hit the eastern coast of Russia. You see their equipment, they're shaking along with the patient. The quake is tied for the 6th strongest ever on record. The area where it was centered isn't very populated, but it is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is an area of intense seismic and volcanic activity on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. At least 2 powerful aftershocks over magnitude 6 struck Russia within the hour after that initial quake.
And it's 5:05 right now, and here's some of the measurements up and down the California coastline from the tsunami that hit. Now, these don't seem like much. We're at 1.4 feet up in Fort Bragg. These all started hitting about 11:50 last night, right around midnight there, and between that and 1:10 in the morning there, got up to 1 foot in Monterey, up to 3.8 feet, measured the highest there in Port San Luis there, 1.3 feet in Santa Barbara, and then no more than 1 foot in LA and San Diego there. And the important thing to remember about these tsunamis is it's not just, a couple of waves lapping on the shore, it's the surge and that's what can really cause problems. So those are the measurements from overnight, and there is still a tsunami warning in effect across much of the California coastline here, starting up north where they're even dealing with a fire weather warning up in the extreme northern part of the state here. But Eureka all the way down into the San Francisco Bay Area, Monterey, the tsunami advisory, they're going to keep it going until about 4 o'clock as the effects of that tsunami will continue until then, even all the way down to the coastline there, down to Los Angeles, again until 4 o'clock this Saturday. All right, weather-wise, here's what we're looking at. Low pressure kind of moving up a little bit, and that's going to take away some chances of thunderstorm activity up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. There was a good amount yesterday, but not enough to really cause a whole lot of damage, and those chances lessen for that today. However, this trough is still trying to break up there, hanging out over the state, and that's going to help keep the high pressure at bay for the most part there. It is trying to extend into our area. So basically all that equates to normal temperatures for us here. However, things are going to dry out for us. We're at 34% for our humidity today, getting down to about 13% at its lowest point later this afternoon, but will rebound to about 54% tonight. And then the dew point will be at 48 for you today. All right, next 3 days look like this. Plenty of sunshine there. Normal temperatures, 98 today, 99 tomorrow, 99 on Friday, 60s overnight. Wind speeds hanging out about 5 to 10 miles an hour. All right, coming up in just a bit here, we'll get a look at the rest of your highs and lows across the San Joaquin Valley.
All right, thanks so much. Time now 5:07. Fresno police are now crediting a Crime Stoppers tip for leading to the arrest of a man wanted for a murder in May of 2023. 48-year-old Cristino Paul Rocha was identified as a suspect in the shooting and killing of 39-year-old Paul Fierro near Glen Avenue and Lansing Way. Right after the killing, police say Rocha left Fresno and an arrest warrant was issued. Police say that Rocha left to Texas, and detectives there helped put the pressure with social media and Crime Stoppers posts, which eventually led to his arrest. He was taken into custody in Waco by the U.S. Marshal's Office, and he'll be transferred to Fresno County after the extradition process is complete. In Mendota, police are now on the lookout for the person who assaulted an officer who was breaking up a fight last Sunday. That fight broke out during a sanctioned vehicle burnout pit event at the former William Robert Johnston Municipal Airport. Police say the person ran up and blindsided the officer by punching him in the face before running away. If you have any information regarding that suspect, please call Mendota Police at 559-600-3111. The investigation into the Midtown Manhattan mass shooting continues this morning, while NYPD is now sending officials to Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Monty Torres with Fox 26 News on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have loads of great content for you to choose from. And while you're here, why not click on the subscribe button right here? That way you can stay in touch with all the latest breaking news, everything news related within the Central Valley. And thank you for watching.